I honestly didn't want to make this video, but like I'm getting so fed up with people, so I just think it's something I need to take it off my chest. Regarding obviously fucking coronavirus aspect. So a lot of people are having this like bad attitude and lack of empathy for each other. And when I say each other, I mean the working class, because we are the most vulnerable like group of people. If we're lucky enough to have a job, because yeah, like there is so many homeless people, and people are like constantly saying stay home, stay home, stay home. You know, don't make it harder, don't make it easier for the virus to spread. But they don't think for 1 minute about those people that actually don't have a home and they have to be in the street, and it's like, who cares about them? You know, we're just gonna care about us as a community of people that actually have a job and actually have a house to stay safe. And it's usually also people with like kind of a good income, so like, you know, they can afford to have Netflix and to be chilling on the sofa for like days or weeks. It's usually people as well, quite neurotypical, so they don't have any problem with like blaming other people not to stay at home. And they don't think that some of us, like, we can't just stay home for like 2 weeks or a month without going in the street, because we go fucking crazy, like literally crazy. They don't think about that. And I've seen enough cases of like people insulting and shouting at people from the balconies or like from the windows to people in the street, and you never know the situation of that person. You never know why the person is in the street. Like, it might be because they are having like, they're really struggling with anxiety, like due to like staying at home, especially people with like anxiety or depressive stages, or like somebody who's actually going to work. Because in my case as well, like I am forced to go to work because I have to take care of people, and if I don't take care of these people, then they can't rely on anyone, so then they would be basically left to die. So yeah, it's really easy, like when you have a good income and like maybe like some savings and a Netflix account and a good supply of food in your fridge or, you know, your cupboard. It's really easy to blame other people for going to the street, and when you're fine like with staying home for a few days, for a few weeks, or even, you know, for a month or 2 months or whatever. But people don't think that there is also people that can't stay home just like that. Like, they have to walk the dogs, they're struggling with mental health issues. Yeah, and then like there is so many people like doing this fucking panic buying. So say somebody goes to a supermarket and they spend literally like 200 quid, 300 quid on so much food, like supplies for over a month, and they don't think that there is people with lower incomes that can't afford to go to a supermarket and get like massive amounts of food because they don't have the money for it. And I'm one of those people. So then these people go to a supermarket and then they find that there is nothing left for them, like nothing, because people with more money, like, they have taken everything without thinking of others. So then there is this fight between us, like the working class, or like, you know, the people with lower incomes or more vulnerable people. Like, we're like fighting each other, blaming each other for going to the street, for like panic buying, for many reasons. And we tend to forget that the main culprit of this issue is actually the government, because, you know, the government should have measures for when this happens, like emergency supplies of everything, like money, so we can afford to like buy food, or even like supplies of food and stuff like that. They're not doing shit about it. They're not doing shit about it, and nobody's talking about them. Like, nobody's talking about the government. Like, what is the president saying? You know, just straight up, people are gonna die, and that's it. Like, that's the solution. People are gonna die, we can't do anything about it. Yes, you can, or you could if you wanted to, because nobody gives a shit about like the most vulnerable people, them being like elderly people or people with certain conditions, like physical or mental conditions. They don't care about them, and nobody's blaming. Well, I don't see many people blaming the government for not having the right measures for this kind of emergencies. Like, literally, we're starting fights between us, and we are the most like, we're the victims, like we're the most affected. And then there is another thing linked to that, and it's white people, like we're trash, and we have to blame somebody. And this virus was born or like created in China, so we didn't waste even 1 minute to like blame Chinese people and to be fucking racist and be like, oh, it's because Chinese people are crazy and they eat bats and shit. And it's like, what the fuck is the difference between eating a fucking bat and eating, I don't know, a pig or chicken? Like, there is no fucking difference. They're just animals. And actually I read that that it was the United States that carried on many experiments on bats, like for whatever reasons. So those people are the main culprits for this virus to have been born. And anyway, even if it was due to like Chinese people eating like certain animals, like that doesn't give us an excuse to be fucking racist. And I've heard so many times like people blaming Chinese people or just being like plain fucking awful, like insulted them, even like harassing them or like physically attacking them. And it's just fucking awful. Like, we don't waste 1 minute to blame this kind of stuff on others, and especially when it's non-white people. But nobody talks about how AIDS were born due to white people, and you know, nobody talks about that. But yeah, nobody's blaming the government for not having, you know, for not providing safety measures for emergencies like this. People also think, well, because some people have savings and they have money enough to like survive without working for a month, they blame others for, you know, going to work, and they don't think that we're forced to go to work. Even if it's not like in the healthcare area, like there is people like being forced to work, like going to restaurants. There is no need for us to go to a restaurant now, how things are. Why don't they close them? Because, you know, because they make money. But if somebody refuses to go to work, like if they work in a restaurant, then they get fired, and then they can't pay the rent, and then, you know, they lose their houses. But people don't care, and they're just, you know, I have Netflix, so I'm just gonna watch Netflix in my house with like so much supplies of food, not caring about not working for a month, and just, you know, spend all day watching Netflix and listening to music and being with my partner, with my family. They don't think about people that don't have a house. They don't care about people that can't afford Netflix. People with mental issues, like they don't care about them or us. So again, like I would like people to ask themselves, who's the real culprit? Because it's not us, certainly. And yeah, at this point I think everyone is aware that hospitals can't take any more people. Like, they're saturated, like they can't take anyone else. So it's obviously everyone's responsibility to stay home if they have a house, first off, and second off, if they can, because for the reasons I said before, like not everyone can stay home. So yeah, obviously if you have the choice to like stay home and help not to spread the virus, and you know you're quite okay with at some extent at staying at home for long periods of time, you have supplies, etc., then by all means stay home, because it's everyone's responsibility. But if you're struggling with any kind of issue, then do as much as you can, and it's not as easy as saying it's stay home for 2 months. Just think about the bigger picture, because it's not always black or white. Like, people always forget about this gray area. And it's funny because these people are the ones, talking about empathy and solidarity and stuff like that, but they're being fucking, they're not being understanding of the conditions of each person. They just think it's, it's all people are the same as them, and it's like, no, like, each person has different conditions and they're in different situations, so it's not as easy as saying everyone just stay home and don't leave unless it's totally necessary. Yeah, obviously, but then in that totally necessary area, like, there's so many factors that people forget about. And also, like, for people that are dealing with any kind of mental issue, or like anxiety, or depressive tendencies and stuff like that, I have like a few steps that we should follow to like stay healthy and stay safe. So if you can, like, practice your self-care as much as you can. Make sure you eat healthy, like as healthy as you can. Again, considering your physical conditions, mental health conditions, like eat. I know it's not as easy for everyone, but eat as healthy as you can. Because of self-isolation, it's important to like open the windows and like let fresh air to come in the house. Drink lots of water. Like, I fail to do this. Like, I find drinking water so hard, but it's so important. Like, I'm forcing myself to drink water, but I honestly fail like many times because I find it so hard. Also, like, for us, it's really important to keep distracted. Like, if you have any big video games, again, not everyone has them, but if you do, keep yourself busy. Like, read a book, play video games, watch movies, listen to music. Maybe like do some art. Like, if you like drawing, for example, like practice it, because you're gonna have a lot of time. Maybe keep a diary of how you're feeling, or I don't know, like anything that can keep you distracted in a safe way. Also, like, take showers often, or baths if you have a bathtub and you can afford to like take baths, because it really helps with anxiety, like keeping yourself clean and all that stuff. Like, I'm lucky enough that I have a bathtub and I can afford to like take some baths every now and again. And honestly, sometimes I'm in there for like 2 hours, and those 2 hours I'm just, I'm not thinking about anything, I'm just listening to music and stuff. So I find it really therapeutical, but I know it's not something that everyone can do, but if you can, just do it. Also, like, try to keep your sleeping routines, like your sleeping patterns, because this kind of thing that you have to be awake and in your house, and you barely can't leave your house during the day, it can't really fuck you up with your sleeping patterns, because you might be sleeping more during the day and then you don't get enough sleep when the night comes and stuff. So if you can, like, force yourself to be awake during the day and keep yourself busy, so that when you go to bed you actually sleep. For those who need therapy, I think there is like some online therapy options, so you can seek those therapy options like online. Like, maybe you can talk to your therapist through like Skype or something like that. Keep contact with your loved ones, like if you have any family members that you enjoy talking to, or like friends that are away or you can't see them now because because of this quarantine thing, then keep in contact with them. Maybe like call them every day, or multiple times every day, or like Skype video calls and stuff like that. So keep in touch with them. And again, for people that really struggle with anxiety and being like locked in like for long periods of time. Like honestly, in my case, like after a few days, I just go crazy, like overthinking and just with plain anxiety. So just maybe seeing just a friend every now and again, maybe just for an hour, like it can really make the difference. So if you can see a friend, like if you really struggle with like staying home and you feel like you have to like go out just for a bit, then just obviously stay away from crowds. Don't go to crowded places, even though like there's not gonna be none. There's gonna be none in a few days, but just avoid like crowded places, like maybe like supermarkets and stuff. Only if you are on your own, go to those places. But yeah, if you feel like you have to leave the house for a bit and just see somebody that you care about, maybe just meet with a friend, with a close friend, or with a family member, just for a bit, for an hour, because that really can make a difference. Because being so many days without seeing anyone and not seeing like somebody that you care about or somebody that you love, like can really mess you up. So yeah, by all means, like if you feel the need to see somebody, like don't let these like people blaming us, like blaming each other, get to you and do it, because at the end of the day, like you have to take care of yourself as well. So like me, like I myself, like have been like really anxious, and one day I really needed to like see a friend and leave my house for a bit, and I just didn't, because I felt like blamed for everybody else. I was like, if I leave my house even for 1 hour and I see my friend, I'm gonna be pointed at. Like I'm gonna be like people are gonna be saying, Alice doesn't give a shit, like she's trash and she doesn't give a shit about anyone. So yeah, at the end of the day, we have to look after ourselves as well. So if you have the need to see somebody, like every now and again, maybe once every 2 days or whatever, only for an hour, for half an hour, 1 hour, or just on your own. Like sometimes I feel much better when I go for a walk, just for half an hour walk, listening to music, and then when I come back home, like I feel way better. So yeah, look after yourselves. Yeah, the main objective of this video is like to make people aware that we shouldn't be like picking fights between each other. Like this is the time to support each other and not blame each other for something that the government should be taking care of, and it's not. And nobody's blaming the government. We're just looking at each other, blaming each other, and shaming each other. But also, yeah, it's a bit tricky because obviously we can't just ignore the people that are more vulnerable than us. Because myself, like I struggle with mental health issues, but physically I'm okay, And I know there's people my age, like not only old people, that struggle with physical health issues. And yeah, we have to think about them, and this is something that we have to be responsible of. So yeah, if you can avoid spreading the virus by like not going out so much, keeping it to a minimum, like the going out or going to the supermarket, then obviously do it by all means. But then don't focus the blame or the shame on the people that have to go outside for whatever reason, because you never know somebody's situation, you never know somebody's conditions. So just fucking stop with the assumptions and support each other and listen to each other, because yeah, who the fuck is that real culprit? It's not us, it's not us like working class, it's not us mentally or physically disabled people, and it's obviously not them homeless people. So yeah, fucking just, I don't know, stop with the bullshit, because I'm just fed up. Like the main victims of these problems are just blaming each other and being it's just fucking overwhelming, and it's not right. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I don't know if I made any sense. But if you have anything to say, or I'm always open to listen. If you have anything to say, or any questions, or I don't know, whatever, or you need support, I don't know, whatever, just drop me a message and I'll get back to you. Stay safe and stay home if you can.